Controversy has hit the 6 full seasons of Modern Survivor, from advantages to production decisions. We'll be looking at the 10 times the show had backlash from their fans in a mere 3 years, and why. 39 days, the number of contestants and one sole survivor, was for the longest time the trademark introduction of most, if not all, Survivor seasons. The 39-day length was synonymous with the show, with many articles outlining it allowed the crew the perfect number of days to get everything recorded that they needed. However, Modern Survivor rapidly decreased the days to 26, taking out almost a 2-week chunk away from the pre-COVID number of days. To defend production, the contestants as well as crew had to be quarantined for 14 days, so the loss of days on the show could be justified by the fact they had to spend more time leading up to it. However, COVID restrictions have now largely disappeared, and the show is still only 26 days. While you may therefore imagine the show would have 1/3 better production value for the missing days, the show still feels pretty similar to the seasons in the 30s. It also doesn't help that when asked about it on podcasts, the responses aren't wholly convincing.
But I want to be clear, it's apples and bananas.
Yeah.
They're different games.
Yeah.
But this is the game.
And as a result, usual dialogue comes in 3 points. The 26-day format is far quicker, you cannot compare it to the older season, and then any statement to cut follow-up questions such as end of story. Fans only got more annoyed at the 26-day format in Survivor 46, which had 90-minute episodes, but the show struggled to fill its episodes due to the seeming lack of content. In the 39-day format, each episode would encompass 3 days. With 26 days, some episodes only contain literally 1 day's worth of footage from the show. Fan opinion varies person to person, with some people not caring about the change while some are extremely against it still to this day. In fact, I implore you to do a simple Google search about 26-day Survivor because it will yield a list of negative results. Previously in Survivor, the 3-tribe format was used every 3 or 4 seasons, usually accompanied with a theme like Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, or Brains, Brawn, Beauty to justify the twist. I feel production knew 3 tribes of 6 could get stagnant if overused, so they could use the twist sparingly and when it made sense. Heck, it almost took them 10 years to go back to 3 tribes after All Stars. For the first 7 seasons in Survivor, it was a tribal dichotomy, where they had a you versus us dynamic to them, similar to Lord of the Flies that inspired the show's inception. So after 4 seasons of 2 starting tribes, the 3 starting tribes twist in Survivor 41 and even 42 was admittedly rather refreshing. Then it came back for Survivor 43 and 44. Okay? And then Survivor 45 and 46. No. And then, yeah. 3 tribes of 6 has been the source of much conflict in the community, as it comes off as very repetitive with very little opportunity for those in the bottom to not be picked off as fodder. Seasons like Cagayan, Worlds Apart, or the Philippines overcame the potential stagnation of the 3-tribe format, with tribe swaps around the final 14, but the majority of Modern Survivor seasons don't have swaps, making the final pre-merge boots predictable. Additionally, in the 3-tribe format, the editors usually set aside 2 tribes as the main ones, causing an underdeveloped third wheel of a final tribe. This was most notable in Survivor 41 and 42, where in some episodes the Luvu or Ika tribes were literally invisible. Building off this, I decided to combine 2 very similar complaints into one entry, with both Survivor staying in Fiji and only naming the seasons after their number, resulting in a distinctive lack of theme. For about 30 seasons, Survivor visited new locations, providing each season with its own unique theme, as the location plus culture were front and centre, even inspiring twists or Survivor challenges that season. Coming into the early 30s, Survivor supposedly ran out of places to visit. Sure, Mr. Jeff. But nevertheless, I decided to stay in Fiji. The uproar around this time was noticeable, but nowhere near as controversial as now, as at least the seasons had casting themes like David vs Goliath or Ghost Island to provide a sense of identity to a season. Although coming into Survivor 41 and beyond, even the season having a theme was scrapped in exchange for just a number. As a result, a lot of fans have expressed their distaste for production as they controversially continue this lack of season theme coming into the late 40s of Survivor seasons. seasons. There's just this steamy feel accentuated by other repetitive staples like the 3-tribe format, which leaves fans ultimately less than happy. The usage of the phrase guys in Survivor has been quite high for 20 years worth of seasons. In fact, its constant use even developed into one of Jeff's iconic phrases, "come on in guys." However, with Survivor trying to become more inclusive in 2021, within the first few minutes of the show, Jeff asked the Survivor 41 cast if they had any problem with the term guys, which no one seemed opposed to. Eventually, at the first immunity challenge, a few days later in the show, Ricard finally vocalised his opposition to the continued use of guys. It became abundantly clear production had been in prior talks with Ricard, where he was supposed to speak during the marooning but refrained as he was too anxious. Ultimately, the usage of guys was declared over by Jeff, sparking many articles on YouTube specifically on the cancellation of this one word. Many arguments came from the community, such as feeling Ricard was being used as a meat shield for production against angry fans for an idea they wanted all along, the partial loss of an iconic phrase, Jeff blatantly telling fans any criticism they had wouldn't be read, as well as the fact that the show spontaneously still used the word guys following their pledge not to use it. Whether you agree or disagree with the removal of the word, most fans can at least agree the show could have handled it better, especially when compared to Australian Survivor or Survivor South Africa, that quietly stopped using the word guys as well without ever having a section of the show dedicated to its removal, which was seen as almost universally a far cleaner transition. For some casual fans, the reuse of puzzles and its effects on long-term Survivor may not be fully understood, but people more so in the fandom will understand just how deep this rabbit hole is. Survivor 41 to 44 had pretty much no new challenges, including puzzles, meaning contestants could just practice replica versions at home to increase their chances of winning. As a result, Matthew dominated the snake puzzle as he made a replica in his yard, Carson was a challenge beast as he 3D printed them all at home, and Evie solved the triangle ball puzzle in a mere few seconds. This caused blowouts which were rather unsatisfying for viewers, as it was essentially contestants capitalising on production's laziness rather than natural skill. Of course, it would be insane for production to create brand new puzzles for every challenge every season, but the repetition of the same dozen puzzles used for the first 4 seasons was understandably irritating for viewers. Amidst this controversy, production publicly supported reusing their puzzles because it meant contestants could practice at home. However, it quickly came up in articles production were forced to make new puzzles upon realization the use of 3D printers would create unsatisfying outcomes if contestants were completing a puzzle they knew the solution to. The knowledge is power is an advantage that allows the holder to steal an idol or advantage from a contestant at Tribal simply by asking them a question. Most advantages in Survivor find success because they help the minority, like individual immunity necklaces, idols, or extra votes, but the knowledge of power jeopardized this, as if it got into a member of the majority's hands, as it always did, they could take away one form of protection from someone about to be voted out. Not only is this advantage unbelievably overpowered in theory, but in execution it went 0-4 without a single successful play during the 3 seasons it was on. Not to mention the advantage caused mass paranoia, as every episode it was a known quantity in Survivor 43, and in Survivor 43 it caused excess advantage passing, which was hard for viewers to follow. At least the advantage being such a failure led to some good moments like "No, you can have this fake" and Jesse getting Dwight Seidel in his elimination episode, resulting in it being somewhat low on this list. The tribe is spoken as an infamous Survivor phrase beginning at the very first season of Survivor, wherein host Jeff Probst would snuff a contestant's torch with the accompanying phrase to cement their exit from the show. Mostly for 46 seasons, outside of medical evacuations or quits, outside of tribal council, it was standard procedure for Jeff to read the votes and the person with the most unprotected votes would be eliminated. However, in Survivor 46, Banu had no vote, was clearly on the bottom, and so instead of wasting time, Jeff called off the voting part of the tribal and declared Banu out. This has some major game ramifications, as it proves Jeff can declare you're out if it appears production can find the eventual vote out too predictable. What if Tiffany and Q decided at tribal to change their vote to Kenzie, for example? We've seen bigger flips happen after all. This happened in Survivor 42 Split Tribal as well, where after Drea and Marianne played their idols before voting, it was down to Tori or Lindsay. Instead of allowing everyone to vote, Jeff instructed only Tori to go and play her shot in the dark, or she would be automatically eliminated. Again, this took away for the potential of votes to be flipped onto Lindsay in this tribal council, but also majorly screwed over Lindsay, as if Tori got the 22% chance for a safe scroll, she would be automatically eliminated. Just to clarify, this result would have happened just because Lindsay was also denied the opportunity to sacrifice her vote for the shot in the dark. Again, Tori was the only one of the 5 that could go to the booth. And in pre-COVID Survivor, both Brandon, Hans and Varner were given similar treatment, but for them it made sense as due to their actions and based on Express, the show was going to eject them anyway. However, instead production made up impromptu tribal councils to save face. The fact a once specialised tribal council for people about to be ejected is now being used for boring boots is quite worrisome. Changing the tribe is spoken mantra potentially to Jeff is spoken if he doesn't feel like you're providing good enough TV. The do or die twist was used in Survivor seasons 41 and 42 as a custom elimination for both final 7 rounds. Contestants first gambled if they wanted to compete in a challenge, and of those competing, the first eliminated would have to compete in a version of the Monty Hall problem. 2 boxes were skulls, 1 was not a skull, and so was a randomized set of odds that could cause a contestant to be eliminated the majority of the time compared to the standard vote-off that most viewers came to expect at the conclusion of the episode. As a result, the fans were upset that someone could be eliminated from the show, essentially because they performed the worst in a specific challenge they never played before, amongst a group of people they only knew for a few weeks. Additionally, there could have been theories online that the do or die was never intended to actually eliminate contestants, with Jeff constantly pointing to the box with the flames. In fact, both contestants Deshawn and Lindsay actually picked the flame box and never swap, even though we were meant to, which is a little bit suspicious. However, with that said, this is all speculation and is probably just subconscious pointing. Something that is not speculation, however, happened in the finale of Survivor 46, where the seemingly established rule of not helping others in challenges quickly evaporated. Maria was the biggest threat left in the game, both from a jury perspective as well in challenges. I mean, she was crushing the competition. Therefore, when Liz had no chance in winning the final 5 challenge, she helped Kenzie with her puzzle, then got her plank of wood so they could take individual immunity away from Maria. This contrasted Survivor South Pacific, where Albert couldn't help Sophie pick up her pieces and kind of took away from the, individual part of the immunity challenge. It's unknown whether production wants to patch this controversial exploit for future seasons, but even on Jeff's podcast, he understood how Maria would be annoyed. A few close considerations almost made this list, however. The Survivor 44 steal of vote power was a last minute twist, allowing her to force a contestant in the losing tribe to vote someone, in spite of the fact Jeff said the winning tribe wouldn't be able to affect tribal council. Survivor 45 casting 2 eventual quitters in Sean and Hannah put into question the casting of modern Survivor, with even Jeff in his podcast stating after Sean, anyone who quits will no longer have their torch snuffed. Contestant Claire on Survivor 44 was able to sit out of every challenge, as the archaic sit-out rules allow contestants to sit out in back-to-back challenges as long as they weren't in the same episode. Claire was eliminated without ever getting to experience a challenge and caused a complete reformat in the challenge rules. The Mergatory twist has been one of the very few beginning at Survivor 41 and continuing until Survivor 46. It has been the topic of a lot of scrutiny by bringing the tribes together but not merging them, essentially making it a glorified Final 12 swap. Jackson Fox in Survivor 42 was secretly taking lithium and supposedly only told production after the alternates left the island to ensure he wouldn't be booted off the show. Production controversially kept Jackson on the show but monitored him closely. After a day, Jackson began feeling faint, and for the second time in the show's history, a contestant was ejected from the game. Letting Jackson compete, knowing he was on lithium, was an extreme gamble, and a sudden removal of it can have harmful effects, so thankfully for production they got him out while he was still somewhat healthy, because the situation could have ended up far darker. Bruce was the first ever returnee in Modern Survivor after not making it past day 1 in Survivor 44 due to concussion. While his return in Survivor 45 was completely fair, especially considering he's a fun character, fans have questions why early medevacs like Matthew or Randon didn't get the chance to return. Even Pat Cusack from Dio vs Goliath tweeted out after the announcement of Bruce returning for Survivor 45 that he would like an actual chance to play the game too. Wow, Erica, it's a beautiful day to discuss controversial Survivor twists, isn't it? It would be a real shame if someone were to take that hammer and smash the hourglass, eh? Hey, Erica? Erica? Erica, no! What's this? You're not going to smash the hourglass? You don't want to break Survivor 41? You know what, Erica? Maybe, just maybe, over the years on my YouTube channel, I've been far too harsh on you in my videos. You know what? Good on you for not smashing the hourglass and staying true to yourself. And I really hope whoever ends up on Exile Island on Survivor 42 follows your example. Isn't that right, Roxroy? Roxroy? Roxroy, no! The hourglass is a twist probably most synonymous with controversy in the bumpy 3+ year history of modern Survivor. In the new mergatory twist, the old tribes were divided into 2 tribes, with 2 people made to sit out. The tribe that won got to select one of these 2 individuals to join them in the merge feast and allegedly win immunity. Although, the reason I say allegedly is because the person not picked, Erica, was selected to go to Exile Island where, unbeknownst to the contestants, she could reverse who won immunity by smashing the hourglass. Not only was this a form of deception by making the winning group believe they were genuinely safe, but it gave immunity to a group of people that got ahead because they lost the challenge. One of the Survivor 41 contestants, Danny McRae, argued about the fairness of this twist with production, the majority of which happened behind the scenes, but some of his displeasure did make it onto the show. Survivor 42 had a slightly better edition, as at least the contestants were informed whoever was sent to exile would get a power of sorts. This lessened the eventual blow as Roxroy 2 smashed the hourglass, but still didn't stop Tori from speaking out against it, similar to Danny 1 season prior. Considering after Survivor 42 the hourglass thankfully has not made a return, it is a bit of a slap in the face to the eventual merge boots such as Sydney or Lydia, who could have made the merge if future seasons' rulings were taken into account. Did I miss any? Should any controversies have been higher or lower? Let me know down in the comments below. Peace!